Yum, yum!
Greg here from Pixel Fondue. Octane 2018 has been released and the MODO plugin has been updated, and it includes support for Vertex maps now, both weight maps and RGBA maps. And in this scene, I'm going to show you how to use both. Weight maps particularly am excited for because I use those to blend between materials and values a lot. And that's what I'm going to do. In this scene, I have the standard MODO asset directory milk pot with a Martini glass for some reason, don't judge. And I am going to do some blending of some colors on the Martini glass using a weight map. So here's my Martini glass, as you can see. Let me just isolate this guy and go to Vertex map modes. Take a look at this as a VMAP. And over here in my VMAPs, you can see I just have a regular weight map on here called Gradient. I just created this using the weight tool and linear fall off. Pretty simple. So I'm going to actually use this as a mask to blend in the material settings in Octane. So let me bring up my schematic, and I'm just going to eyedropper this to bring it into the schematic. And here's my glass material. And my transmission, I'm going to go over to textures, and under mapping, I'm going to add a mix. And there's my mix. And I'm going to mix a couple of colors together and blend between them with this vertex map right here. So first texture, I just need a RGB color, and white will be fine. And I'm going to control deduplicate that, and I'm going to do red in the second one and plug that into the second texture. And for a mount, I'm going to go to texture, generator, and grayscale vertex attribute. You'll see that brings in this node right here. And it has a name, right? So there's two things you have to make sure you do. One, your object has to have live geometry update ticked, and this will allow it to feed that geometric data, the weight map, to the Octane renderer. And then I need to go over here and look and see the name of my weight map. It's called Gradient. Now this may be automated at some point. In fact, I think Paul, the author of the MODO plugin, thinks that it can be, but initially you're going to have to take the time out of your life to type in the name. Not so bad, but that's what you have to do. And so that should just work. If I hit refresh over here, and you should see a nice blend on the, yep, there it is, on the Martini glass from red at the bottom, 100% in that weight, going up to 0 in the clear at the top. So looks like a fancy Martini glass you'd get at Kmart with colored glass in it. Awesome. All right, I'm going to turn my attention to this copper jug over here. So we're going to take a peek at this guy. It has a VMAP as well. This one is called Milk, not coincidentally. And it's on the bottom because I want to make the bottom look like it's been burned. And the great thing about VMAPs is, and using VMAPs and shading, is they're super easy to create, right? You can super easily isolate the parts of your object that you want to affect with shading, and that's what we're doing here. So I want to affect the bottom there, and I want to make sure my milk jug is set to live geometry updates so the shader can get that vertex information. And I'm just going to use my little eyedropper tool here to bring up this copper material there. Here it is. This copper material comes from Richard Yacht's Octane Viz Pack. Great materials in there. He puts a lot of care into making these photorealistic. In this case, he's got, going into the specular here, he doesn't just have a simple copper color. He actually has a blend between this copper color and pure white being blended on the Fresnel value, essentially. So you get really bright edges like you would in metal. And this is just one way he puts extra care into his materials. I'm actually going to use this mix texture that's already there, and I'm going to unhook Richard's stuff. Sorry, Richard, don't need those. And I'm going to duplicate this dark copper like that, and I'm going to just hold shift and drag left to darken it, and I'm going to plug that into my second slot. Here, see, it's going to darken the whole thing because the default mix amount is 0.5, but I want to use this as the mix amount, right? This vertex map right here. So under amount, I'm going to go over to new texture, generator, grayscale vertex attribute, and there's my new node. All you have to do is type in the name, M-I-L-K, boom, and there I've got it. Pretty sweet, right? So you can change this. Like I said, the great thing about VMAPs is it's really easy to update them. I don't have to paint a new mask or goof around with something like that. I can simply, let's just say, I can go to a linear fall off like this, and kind of drag like there. I think I can auto size it like that. Press, I'll probably bring this down just a little bit. Press W for the weight tool and start dragging like that. And you see it's updating in real time over here. Pretty cool. So that's the weight maps or grayscale vertex attributes, but it can also deal with color vertex attributes or color RGBA maps, and I will show you how to do that next. So in order to use a color vertex map, I first need to create a color vertex map. So I'm going to select my dirty paper towel there, and over in the vertex group under other maps, I'm going to say new map, and I'm going to go to, you can use an RGBA or just an RGB map, and initial value of a 1 looks good to me. So we've got a white map here. And over in my sculpting tools under VMap tools, I have the ability to paint VMaps. I'm going to hit paint, bring up my tool properties here, and I'm going to pick a color. Let's do blue. What we got? Yeah, blue's fine. And so I can start painting a color map here. Now, the more vertices you have, obviously, the higher resolution your painting will look. So I can actually, maybe I'll just subdivide this guy a couple times, get more vertices on there, and go back to painting. So I got blue, much nicer, much smoother. That is probably one of the best paintings I've ever made. Why not? Whoops. So there, yeah. How many of you knew I was going to do that? Okay. So there we've got that. All right, fine. Great. Fine. A smiley face. Taking a look, I'm just going to select the paper towel there to bring that up. And what do we have for diffuse color? I'm going to unhook my grungy map there that I've got in there. I'll go ahead and hit play just to bring that around. And again, I've got to make sure this is live. So under properties, live geometry update. That's going to tell me I need to refresh my scene. Fine. Scene will be refreshed. And the name of that vertex map is color. That's fine. We'll keep color. So I'm going to select diffuse right there. And under my Octane tools, I'm going to say new texture generator color vertex attribute. And this guy, of course, will be called color. That's the map that we just made. Hit return. And there it is. Reflecting and everything. So, yeah. Grayscale vertex attributes, color vertex attributes, you can use them in shading now. I think it's a fantastic addition to Octane 2018.
Yum, yum!